Joining us now is senior NBA insider for ESPN, friend of the program, ladies and gentlemen, the ever-handsome Charania.
Yeah.
Shams, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Are we good? We're having some camera issues.
Yeah, I think.
Gotta make sure it's all good. I see the tank is back though.
Yeah,
That's
well, Indy 500. It's May in Indianapolis. You know, it's the greatest month a city can have is May in Indy because it all culminates with the Indy 500. I believe this is the 109th running of the Indy 500 coming here at the end of the month. But all month leading up to it, there's just events basically every single day celebrating our city, celebrating the race. And I just got this fresh tank from the wife yesterday. And it's May, you know, so I might as well.
Samantha.
Yeah, shout out Sam. Shout out Sam. Shout out Mrs. McAfee Show on Instagram and X, even though she doesn't use X ever. Nonetheless, basketball. We got a couple Game 7 possibilities here. He just talked about the odds of tonight, both underdogs, the teams that are down 3-2, are supposed to win. They're favored to win. Game 7, though, both Nuggets and Knicks back at their home barn scheduled to win if you go by what the odds are to win the series. How should we be viewing these games tonight? Do we think that the Clippers at home are a problem? Do we think that the Pistons, after what happened last game, are a problem? How do you kind of see these going? And is there any injury reports that we need to know before we bet on any of these games?
Yeah, so as far as Detroit, still don't know if Isaiah Stewart, their big man, he hasn't played for most of this series. He's dealing with a knee issue. Don't know yet if he's going to be available to play tonight. But
That's Beef Stew.
He's missed the last few games.
If Beef Stewart's back in there, we thought it was physical before.
Oh, yeah.
Beef Stew's going to bring the
Still
pain.
no
He's going
word
to
on
beat the
him.
hell out of them.
It seems unlikely, but we'll see.
Can't he just go out there and take 6 fouls?
Good. It's a good strategy, actually.
Yeah, just some. MC/DC at an AC/DC concert last night.
Yep.
Shout out to him enjoying his time. MC/DC would have Beef Stew out there. All right, let's start this game. You're actually taking the jump ball, but you're not jumping, just low bridge. All right, now we'll take a foul. Yeah, I guess Tech. Sorry about it. Let's keep it moving. Beef Stew, though, is an enforcer, right? A game changer for you guys?
Yeah, he's an enforcer. He's been one of our guys all year long. I'd actually like it if they kept him on the bench and then Stone Cold Glass hits, and then he comes out there. He hits Brunson, he hits Hart, he hits Cat.
Like actually punches them is what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I'd love that. That'd be everything Detroit wants to see tonight.
Hey, Shams, they're physical. I was watching that. I haven't seen much of the Pistons this year. I apologize. Cade, I guess, is a baller, and obviously Foxy keeps me updated on it all. So
yeah, definitely.
I don't feel obligated to have to watch their games. They are physical. Like Jalen Brunson has at least 1 to 2 dudes hitting him every time he has the ball. His little run through, turn around, fade at like the free throw line is basically what he has to do. Pistons been playing that way all year. Is this the new norm in the NBA? Because I think I saw the New York Times talking about maybe basketball's too physical right now. Is that a conversation that's actually taking place?
I think it's good for the game. I mean, the fact that, to me, it shows competitiveness, the parity in the league right now that exists. Like, guys want to win clearly, and you're seeing it. And I actually like when they're able to have a little level of physicality. Again, there's levels to how much can you allow, how much you don't want to allow. You don't want guys to spill over. You don't want fans to get involved with players and stuff to spill into the crowd. But it's good for the game overall. But I think with the Pistons, I spoke to Cade Cunningham before the start of the playoffs. He told me like they've embraced this bad boys Pistons. The old bad boys Pistons from the 80s and 90s, they've embraced that. And I think what Cade Cunningham told me is when you're in Detroit, you know it, you feel it, and you want to actually make good on what that old bad boys culture is about. So I think this group, and it probably starts with guys like Isaiah Stewart, Jalen Duren, Tobias Harris coming over from Philadelphia. He got a lot of flack in Philly the last few years. And then he's come in, played such a big role for them as a leader. And what we've seen from guys like Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., it's all surrounding a guy that, to me, probably is going to be an all-NBA player, going to be a guy that's going to be a face of that franchise and a face of one of the young faces of this NBA, and Cade Cunningham. He's the real deal. He's all about winning. You see the fabrics of what it takes to win all in him. This series could easily be 3-2 the other way for Detroit. And
refs,
the same case with Denver and the Clippers. That's a very tightly contested series, too. So tonight, I think we have 2 series that could easily go 7 games.
I'm excited to watch tonight. Shout out to the NBA delivering. Obviously, hey, is Joker the coach, GM, and star of that team over there? Is that accurate?
Well, Nikola Jokic, the moment that firing happened, I think what we've seen, even before then, he was a little bit vocal, but he's been unleashed. And when I talk to people around Denver, They say Nikola Jokic is finally comfortable with the power, with the influence, with who he is as a player. And before, I think we hadn't seen him as maybe demonstrative or as vocal, but right now he's showing it. And I don't think it's like the power that he feels like he can yield, right? Like, it's not like, oh, I'm going to fire this coach, I'm going to trade this player. It's like, how can I influence my teammates? Like, this is the first time I think we've seen Nikola Jokic's career where he is going about it every night and he's trying to influence how his teammates are behaving, how they're playing. And it's not going to be guys like Jamal Murray. Him and Jamal Murray have a long relationship. And I think there is a level of trust with Jamal Murray that when the lights are on the brightest, Jamal Murray's going to show up. And he has, at least last game he did. But you see Nikola Jokic talking to some of his younger teammates and everyone in that roster. He is as vocal as we've ever witnessed.
I'm happy to see that.
This is someone that's never this vocal.
I'm happy to see that. And Joker needs to know, and I assume he'll experience this by himself, just like he did with that parade. You know, whenever they told him that after they won a championship that the parade was like 3 days away, he was like, I don't want to wait.
My horses.
I got horse race to go back to. And then he gave a speech at the parade. He goes, I know I say I don't want parade. After parade, I want parade. Like, I think through experiences, he learns that maybe enjoying the fruits of his labor isn't a bad thing. I think we saw that with the parade. But also him opening up like this more, I think he's going to realize that people are going to think that he cares more. Like that is going to be the natural reaction from people. Because in that kind of conversation, like, this guy's so good, he's unbelievable, but he doesn't seemingly care. And we know that he cares, has to care to get that good at basketball. The amount of time that he has to spend off season to get to be as good of a player or throughout his life that he is, he has to care. But once you're more vocal and more demonstrative, start showing things, I think it's just more natural for people that don't necessarily know you to be like, oh, that guy's invested entirely. And I think that's awesome if we're in the era of Joker becoming like a little bit more of a personality. Good for the NBA, I think, from what I've heard. I think he's probably a hilarious human being.
Yeah.
I would assume Joker has a great personality. He's obviously an incredible basketball player. But if he's going to start being a little bit more assertive, I think that's good for the NBA as a whole. Now, let's pivot to last night. Not good for the NBA.
No.
Not good for the NBA. I know you were pulling for it. I know Adam Silver was pulling for it. Luka and
Edwards was not pulling for it, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Edwards is one guy that was not pulling for it.
And I'm pulling for Anthony Edwards forever, by the way. Whenever he's playing for Team USA, whenever he's playing for whatever team he's playing, if it's going to be the Timberwolves for his entire career, which I think would be a very cool story, especially in this modern basketball world, I will be pulling for him. Luka, LeBron, though, exit. First round exit in 5 games. Obviously, there were some moments last night that are going to highlight Luka's inability to try on defense or inability to play defense, which is what Nico was mentioning whenever he decided to make this trade and since this trade has happened. When Luka gets traded to the Lakers, obviously Luka went to the finals last year with the Mavericks, and they don't make it to the finals, and they don't win a championship. It has been a full-on, this was a catastrophe for the Lakers this year. Going into the All-Star break before the trade happened or whatever, I don't think the Lakers were that good. They get Luka, all of a sudden expectations now are a championship. JJ Redick is getting judged harshly because of how things are getting handled, even by Reggie Miller about production meetings, which I didn't know was a lot. I love Reggie. Reggie's done a lot for Indiana. I'm not saying anything, but I didn't know that was like how your guys' sport works. Ours doesn't work like that. But with that being said, Lakers being out, is this considered a massive failure by all parties? And what happens in the offseason now going forward?
I think everyone expected. I mean, everyone was predicting, right, the Lakers to win. Like from a media perspective, I guess you think about fan perspective, and Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves organization. I remember talking to people in Minnesota before the series started, and they're like, "Why is everyone picking the Lakers? We literally had one less win than them, right?" And you think about the seedings that went on in the Western Conference between 2 or about 3 and 8. It really just jumbled up. There was one game separating them. So even though the Lakers were the 3 seed, Minnesota was the 6th seed, there wasn't much difference in this team. I think what we saw here was you have to give, first of all, Anthony Edwards a lot of credit. I don't know if Dragon Slayer is the right term. You think about who he's beaten the last couple of years in the playoffs: LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Luka Doncic now this year. He's taken it to some big name players in this league, and at such a young age. And when I talk to people in Minnesota, they talk about someone, even though he might not have the best shooting night sometimes, he's emerged as a leader of this team, and he's emerged as the guy that when the going gets tough, you know you can rely on him. And this team got a lot of flack during the season, and Julius Randle took a lot of it too. But he's looking like a great get for them. Rudy Gobert last night played amazing. So this is a real team. But when I look at it from the Lakers' perspective, Luka Doncic said last night he's still dealing with like exhaustion mentally, and he needs rest, and he needs that trade. It changed everything for him, for the Lakers, for the Mavericks, obviously, and I think we saw him. He's continuing to deal with that. I'm sure he's going to still need some time to deal with the closure, but this is a team that JJ Redick has said it. Anthony Davis said it before he got traded. LeBron James has said it. Like, they needed a center, and they need a big man, and that's going to be their number one focus in the offseason, is going and finding a center. This is as simple as I can put it. The Timberwolves had Naz Reid, Rudy Gobert, and Julius Randle at center. The Lakers had Jackson Hayes, and that's who they played at center in this series.
And if you think back, the Nuggets, Joker, like that has been the Lakers' kind of Achilles heel throughout this entire thing, which is why I assume AD said it before he got traded, and why I think we all would assume that this would end up happening for the Lakers, because LeBron's teams make moves, especially if LeBron thinks that it's something that is a necessity, right? So we assume that's going to happen with the Lakers. Who would be available?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little early on names. I mean, do you go the free agent route? Do you go the trade route? They do have some draft picks. The one thing the Lakers can say is they've got flexibility. They've got some contracts you can trade. They've got 2 or 3 first-round picks they can move. So they have an ability if they want to explore trades. But what player out there will make a difference? Obviously, they made the trade for Mark Williams, rescinded that. But that is going to be the number one focus for the Lakers, and JJ Redick spoke to it after the game, before the game, like he can be better too. And whether it's inexperience, and you think about that game 4 when JJ Redick played his entire group in the second half, that was clearly a gamble that he made. And I think some of the players on that team could have also looked at it and said, we probably needed a breather there, but the coach rode with us and he kept us in there. If JJ Redick could do it over again, he probably makes a sub in the second half. But again, that's the part of being a first-time head coach. He showed a lot of signs of being a really, really good coach in the NBA.
I appreciate that. He also isn't just a cookie-cutter press conference. It was a big stir whenever he gave the answer he gave about consulting with his assistant coaches, because the way he took the question was, so you think I'm an idiot? You think I'm an absolute idiot is what I'm hearing. And then, JJ Redick, from the stories we've heard about how ultra competitive he is, inside his brain, he starts going, this guy thinks he knows basketball more than I do, this person. So that probably gives him a little bit of, I'm just assuming as this person is indicating that JJ doesn't know ball is how JJ Redick is going to take it. JJ doesn't know how to do his job. There's people that are on his bench that know how to do his job better than him, maybe. That is how JJ takes that question. I'm not saying that's how the question was meant. Feels like probably was. But if it wasn't meant that way, I think that is how JJ takes it. Then JJ gives the answer. So you don't think I consult with my assistant coaches every single time we have a timeout? And then he basically ends his press conference at that moment, walks out. So then he stormed out, he's this. Then Reggie Miller said he was acting immature or something like that. And
do we have that clip of Reggie Miller saying that? People keep saying that. I didn't hear it.
We do not have the clip either. Wendy is the one that reported it on Get Up this morning. It's like, I love JJ Redick. He was good to us. We had him on the show. He was very nice to us. I like he's a former player that's running this thing. I like that he was getting absolutely murdered whenever he was hired. Like, this could have been his dream job to be an NBA, to be a coach. When he got hired, it was just a murder scene. Then he gets the team good, gets the team playing well. Obviously, they make a massive trade for a great player, and he continues to just not act like a cookie-cutter person that they want him to act. So I appreciate that. Do you think there is going to be a change in JJ Redick, though, the way he acts? Do you think they're going to put the clamps on him and tell him he's going to have to act differently? I don't know how the NBA works. Will Adam Silver say, hey, can't have you just telling reporters they're doofuses, basically, whenever you do this. Can't have you doing this. Or will they let JJ continue to be JJ? And is everybody excited about the possibilities of JJ being actually a potentially a good coach, as opposed to how he's being painted right now?
Anyone that knows JJ Redick knows he will only be himself at all times. There's no really adjusting with him from a personality perspective. But what I will say is, and he's spoken to it, this was his first year as a head coach in the NBA. He's a rookie head coach. So any person that starts anything, whether when you first started out, when I first started out, we're different. from our first day, our first year, to when we develop, as we get lessons, as we continue to grow. And I think what we're going to see from JJ Redick in the offseason, next season, the years to come, is a refined version of how he is. Now, you're never going to get rid of that grit that he has. You're never going to get rid of that edge. You're never going to get rid of that. LeBron, this is in LeBron James' words, and I think this is what he said. He said JJ Redick is a dickhead. This is literally what LeBron James said. So I didn't say it. Yeah. I promise I didn't say it.
No, he said it right here. He said it right here.
Thank you. Yeah, he said it on PMS. So he said it. So everyone knows around the NBA what JJ Redick is like. Now, what you can refine is some of the things you learn in games. And then there were some stories, him breaking clipboards during training camp and during the early, parts of practice. And those are things that over time, how do you channel that in the best way? And I think everyone around the NBA
maybe he does it forever.
JJ Redick is and he might be breaking clipboards every single year. But at the end of the day, it's about, do you get buy-in from your players? Do your players understand where you're coming from? Do your players respond to what you're teaching? There's never going to be a commissioner call like, we need JJ Redick to change. There's never going to be like anyone in that Lakers organization telling JJ Redick, we need you. JJ Redick is JJ Redick. But how can you refine? And I think there's a lot of confidence in that organization around the NBA. A lot of people are high on JJ Redick.
I would assume his coaching style is going to remain the same, but I assume just because he's not going to want to have to deal with the bullshit. Like, having them attack him for being immature and everything, he's probably going to be like, okay, it would be nice. It might be nice if that's not in my life going forward. So might change the way he does deal with press. And I'd like to say we're going to call him boring. If he gets to a boring point, I'm not going to be happy about us changing him, okay? I'm not going to be happy about getting boring answers out of JJ Redick. Hopefully that never takes place. But, hey, good luck, JJ. It was your first year. You're going to be judged off the success you have. First round exit, first year.
Yikes. It's the Lakers' job too, though, and the Lakers' job is judged by championships or bust. Especially when you have Luka Doncic and the guy that we haven't even spoken about yet, LeBron James, and that's the other big elephant in the room for the Lakers.
Yeah, what is it? He's playing, right? What is the elephant in the room?
I mean, for sure. How long is LeBron James going to play? There's no expectation for LeBron James to retire. I will say that. My understanding is he will play at least another NBA season. You think about next year, 2025, 26. It'll be year 23. That would set a league record. Year 23 for number 23. The All-Star game is in Los Angeles. He's potentially playing in Los Angeles. There's a lot of stars that would align for next season, potentially, if that's what LeBron James decides. He'd be 41 years old in December. He's 40 years old right now. So the expectation is he's going to be playing at least another season. But again, how long? And the other thing, Pat, is does the Bryce James, his son, does that factor play into it at all? His son is going to be potentially draft eligible in 2026 next year. So if he feels at some point next year Bryce James might be an NBA player, might be a draft eligible player, does he extend that window? I think that's the only potential caveat that you think of out there that could keep LeBron James even longer than at least one more year. But we saw his answer last night. He was very non-committal. And every time a Lakers season, or really a Cavs season in the past, a Miami Heat season in the past has ended since he's been like 25, 26, what he's been saying is, I'm going to take time with my family, I'm going to talk to my advisors, my support system, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to make a decision on where I'm going to land at. Before it was about free agency. Before it was about where he's going to end up. Now it's about, is he going to play anymore and how long he's going to play. Either way, him coming back to the Lakers, there's going to be a lot of questions. He's got a $54 million player option. So what do you do there? Do you opt in? Do you opt out? My feel is that he probably opts into that. And then from there, it's like, what does the Lakers roster look like? Because this was a LeBron James at 40 years old that was playing games and playing significant minutes as a center. And I don't expect that to be in his future, to be playing the center position at 41 years old. This is not sustainable for LeBron James at this point in his career.
Okay, player option in, $39 million. Not going to be playing center. You said potentially playing
$54 million. You just took 15.
I didn't mean that. Sorry, I misheard. That's on me. For $54 million player opt-in option. You said potentially play, potential All-Star game, potentially playing in LA. If he plays again, he's definitely playing in Los Angeles. That's definitely the case.
That's he hasn't indicated anything otherwise.
Okay, cool.
I mean, to leave Los Angeles at this point in his life and his career.
Sweet.
I mean, I guess you'd never say never. You'd never say never, but all the indications would be that's where he would retire. He said it publicly. That's where he would want to retire.
Okay, and I very much understand him. Maybe at the age of 40, as soon as the season ends, and you're devastated and bummed, and everybody's talking shit on you, that you just want to think about, do I want to sign up for this again? You know, the answer is probably yes. I don't think he's ever said anything whenever asked directly about it from us or anybody else that doesn't sound like he's not going to play next year. But at that age, with how many minutes he played, with how it ended, I don't blame somebody just for a second being like, do I want to sign up for this again? Just for, I don't know, a day, a week, maybe. It happens in our sport. I'm happy to see that LeBron's going to take time to fully commit yet again, and we're excited to watch him. And Bryce James might be the one. You know, not that Bronny isn't. You know, Bronny obviously ended up having some minutes with the Lakers, and he's much better at basketball now than he was at the beginning of the season. They hope for that to continue, but it's like Bryce is big, tall, fast, and strong. Okay, we appreciate all that news. We have a rapid-fire situation here because we do have a guest lined up in like a minute and a half, and he could beat up all of us, so we don't want to do that. But Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Sean, we're talking about all these teams who are eliminated. The Celtics are still in it. Let's talk real shop here. Excuse me, jeez. Is there a chance? Sorry, I just almost threw up again.
Already. What happened?
Is there a chance the Celtics have to make changes at the end of the year here? It feels as though, you know, the Boston kind of way they're set up because of the fact that Tatum and Jalen have both been drafted there, that the luxury tax isn't as massive. Is that the case, or are we looking at a situation where Boston might have to make some changes?
BC, you were just choking up. I don't know. You're not going to want to hear this. I know you're not going to want to hear this. You might start bleeding from your ears. Right now, Boston is fully focused on winning a championship. Like, that is the number one focus, repeating. But I can tell you, the rest of the league is bracing for some level of change to come to the Celtics from their roster this offseason. And, you know, sources have been telling me for weeks now that the Celtics will be exploring trade options in the offseason. This team, this iteration just is not going to be sustainable for this team. And no one around the organization, from players to staffers, would be surprised if there are changes coming to this roster. Because when you think about the new collective bargaining agreement, there's restrictions that come with trades. There's restrictions that come with freezing of draft picks. That's all stuff that they're dealing with right now. They have 5 players right now scheduled to make $28 million or more next season. That's a league record.
So
they would have a salary bill of $500 million. That would be league history amount. And I think the Celtics knew when they traded for Jrue Holiday and they traded for Kristaps Porzingis, they'd be staring at this in the face this summer. But they're none of these changes are at the top of mind for the Celtics now. They can't be. And this is obviously the most talented team in the league. I think a lot of people would agree with that. So these are good problems to have, but the league is bracing for some level of change to come to this Celtics roster in the offseason.
Okay, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy, especially in the middle of a dynastic run to even think about what the future could be. You just sold it, I guess, for $6 billion, so $500 million. Nonetheless, quick, Giannis, do we have any answers? When do you think we'll get an answer?
I think everything around Giannis and Antetokounmpo right now, it's going to take some time because they just lost, and the way he operates, he's going to talk to his representation. Eventually, there's going to be a meeting between him and the Bucks, and eventually they're going to have to get on the same page of what this looks like. Is there a pathway for this organization to win? Pat, I'll give you a quick rundown. They don't have any cap space. They're very limited with players that they can trade with value. So when you think about how can you improve this team, you need players that other people want to really give up a lot for. They just don't have that. Bobby Portis is going to be a free agent. That's really the only guy that you can look at that would bring back significant value. But he's not. They don't have rights to him potentially. He's a free agent, and they don't have a draft pick until 2031.
Yikes.
They have one draft pick that they can trade. It's that year. Are you really going to trade a pick that far out? Their options are very, very limited to make this team better, and I think that's a reality. Eventually, in the coming weeks, Giannis and Antetokounmpo and the Bucks will be discussing.
That is, he's so good.
Oh, yeah.
He's so good. You put him on a team. I mean, I know he won, but like at this point, with the way they're set up from what you're just saying there, putting him on like, what if he goes to the Lakers? Can't he go to the Lakers? You want him in what if he comes to the Pacers?
Don't start this. Don't start.
What if he comes to the Pacers?
Minnesota with
Pacers would be interesting.
Pacers would be very interesting because there's heat, but that means there's probably respect too about like, hey, this is how this goes. And we've seen this in sport before where the people who seemingly are the biggest enemies are actually the ones who have the most amount of respect for each other because they maybe see the game the same way. Tibbs, hot seat. Bruce wants to know.
Yeah, is he coached for his job? Does he need to shave his head going a run here?
I haven't gotten an indication like that. I mean, I think his relationship with Leon Rose is very, very tight. But listen, at the end of the day, if you lose 3-1, you lose after going up 3-1, there's always going to be conversations.
All right. We appreciate the hell out of you. Ladies and gentlemen, senior NBA insider for ESPN.
You see how we beat that time crunch? You see, we did.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, but it was good shit, so it doesn't matter because you are the man. Ladies and gentlemen, Sham Charania.
Hey.
Hey.